Hello, hello. Good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on where you're listening, when and where you're listening to this. Today I'm doing a plateosaurus habitat in my ethical zoo, ethical park for Prehistoric Kingdom. This will be the second episode, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
So today I've been doing plateosaurus because I had the choice of that, or I actually don't know how to say the name. It's the dinosaur. If that's what up on the screen now. I'll just be saying the whole thing's been like I've recorded my voiceover after because the original audio file got corrupted, and then and then part of the gameplay got corrupted. So I've this episode's been a real pain recently, but I decided it's better for it to come out decent than what I was originally planning to do. I was delete the whole exhibit and try again. It's been part of the reason why I've taken about a month hiatus. I decided I just gotta just do it, and then I'll be back to normal in the next episodes, depending on how this is generally. You prefer me just voicing over and talking like this? I feel like it's less organic, but I don't know. Maybe it's fine having it recorded after the fact. I'm less talking about what I'm doing, which I don't know if that's worse or better. I don't know why. Watch it. But anyway, I decided originally that I was going to go for like a more, uh, not Prehistoric Kingdom. What's the name of it? The documentary. Oh my God, I've lost my train of thought. Walking with Dinosaurs. That's it. If you've ever watched the original Walking with Dinosaurs, the Plateosaurus shows up right at the end of the first episode, the Jurassic one. It's it's the bit where they're basically saying like how it's a new age. It's the age of dinosaurs. And then they show the Plateosaurus, which is a Triassic protosauropod, which means they're not a sauropod yet. But if you've seen them, you can see the beginning, what looks like a sauropod. You see, you've got the long neck, stuff like that. And they do eventually evolve into everyone's favorite sauropods. Yeah, in that episode, I don't, if you remember or not, they are in a desert sort of area. There's a river running through. I decided originally I was going to base it off of that, sort of, which was the first habitat idea. Half the footage for making that habitat is gone, corrupted, sadly. It's fine because I decided I'd just make the habitat bigger afterwards. I wasn't actually happy with how large I'd made it. Even though the game said I had the right parameters, I thought, well, we'll just make it way bigger. Because I didn't realize how big the dinosaurs were until I put them in. Also, yeah, you can see the little pools, little ponds. I was going for like a shrubland, like a dry sort of shrubland, which I don't know how it went. I think it looks decently good. But the problem I had was there wasn't enough like hiding spots for dinosaurs. I feel like having privacy in zoos is quite important. I feel like there's a sort of balance you have to strike between guest viewing and ethics for creatures themselves. But aside, because the whole basis of the series is meant to be more ethical, I should give them that space. Anyway, on to some fun facts about Plateosaurus, because I've learned quite a bit about it. Seems it's a dinosaur, I don't know. I didn't really know too much about it. It basically peaked what I knew about them from Walking with Dinosaurs, which wasn't too much. I'd find some pretty fun facts about them. One of that being it was one of the first genus of dinosaurs to ever be discovered and still be considered a valid genus. Because obviously you have things like Troodon and stuff, but they're not classified as real dinosaurs anymore. Whereas Plateosaurus was the fifth one to be found and still like, it's a valid genus. So they're mostly found in Germany, especially around the Swabia region. I think that's how you say it, which is sort of Black Forest, that sort of area. And there's a lot of stuff I found of them being mistaken for what have you, dragons. That's probably why I think like medieval Germany has so many myths about dragons, or at least partially, because they saw the fossils of plateosaurus and they thought, "Wow, it's a big lizard. It must be a dragon." So I did actually. This is the original like shelter I'm making them now. I was really unhappy with not only the size of it, because I feel like the shelter needs to be big enough to hold every member of the herd, and I think I ended up with 5 of them. So obviously not big enough. Also, I didn't really like the theme of it too much. So because of the whole dragon and like Central Europe medieval thing, I ended up making a castle, which you'll see in a little bit. I don't. I think it went quite well, seeing as I'm new to building in this game. Like as you can see here, I had no idea how the snap points worked, and I like the grid system. I figured that out. I'm sure this looks painful to watch. I decided I'd include it anyway. It's because not only will you be seeing me make Park on this series, you'll also be seeing me learn how to make stuff in Prehistoric Kingdom in general. So I am a pretty bad builder. I feel like I'm going to get better. You'll watch my skills blossom. But yeah, what about Plateosaurus? Well, they are mainly found in Germany. There's actually fossils that have been found as far, I think it was as far west and north, I guess, as Greenland. Also, a lot of it's been found like during like oil drilling and stuff in the North Sea. It's a very common dinosaur. I think it's like the Psittacosaurus. I think they're probably one of the dinosaurs with the most fossils found in general. Fossils of all stages of growth and stuff. So we do know quite a lot about them. One, funny enough, though, there is one thing we don't know about them, and it's their name. The name Plateosaurus was, I think, it was chosen like I think it must have been the 19th century. It's a long time ago. They were one of the first dinosaurs, of course. So, but the problem being, its name is it means flat lizard in Greek, but flat lizard doesn't really get us anywhere. Don't actually know why they were called flat lizards. It's some. I think there are some claims about it to do with the flat bones, the skull, that sort of stuff. We actually no idea. Not the foggiest clue. Anyway, that was my awful little shelter I made, which ended up getting deleted real quick. It took me way too long to make this, like an embarrassing amount of time, really, really in the scheme of things. And it was absolutely tough. So it gets gone pretty quickly. I think I might have seen the Plateosaurus before, like a fossil of it. I think they might be at the Natural History Museum in London. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm probably from my accent, I am English. We have a very nice natural history museum, a lot of dinosaurs, a massive whale in the entrance, depending on when you last visited, if you have visited. You might have also seen what was Dippy the Diplodocus, which we used to have in the main display. They got, they didn't get rid of it. That's the wrong way of saying. Yeah, I think they moved it to a different area of the museum. It's a great museum though. If you're ever in London, I'd recommend popping in and giving it a visit. It's wonderful. There's a lot for everyone. Personally, like most of the dinosaurs, I feel like most people do, but there's a lot of geology as well that I've started to get into more, and it's got a pretty good earth sciences area, and it's in the local vicinity of the science museum, not the natural science, just the science museum. Which if you prefer more physics and stuff of that nature, it's probably also quite interesting. It's a good zoo. It's a good museum. I would recommend it, especially if you like plants as well. They have quite a few uh, cases, I, displays. There's quite a few displays at the front of stuff of that nature, like the early trees and such. I do love a good plant. I could talk forever about plants. I think if I didn't choose to do my degree in marine biology, it would definitely be in botany. I do love all sorts of plants. I have many of my own, especially carnivorous plants. I think carnivorous plants, especially pitcher plants, are probably one of my favorite organisms. Full stop. Actually, a very very good example of convergent evolution. Obviously, you see a lot of that in the animal world. Convergent evolution. Those who don't know, I'm just assuming everyone does, which is really sort of my is when basically two unrelated animals evolved to a similar niche with like similar features. Like an example would be squid and humans, or mammals, I should say, or just vertebrae in general, both evolved eyes separately. There was no like common ancestor between the squid and the human that had eyes. So they both independently evolved them for the same function. Another would be like ichthyosaur and dolphin evolving to fill very similar niches with very similar like streamlined sort of builds. But yeah, pitcher plants, there's two types. There's Nepenthes, which is uh, probably the one you've seen more of, depending on where you're from, just because you would have seen it in like plant shops and stuff, maybe. And on like nature documentaries, it has the pitchers growing off the leaves, and I think it's mostly found in like places like the Philippines, like Southeast Asia, that sort of area. And they evolved for low nitrogen areas like the jungles of Southeast Asia because they grow on stuff like trees. And obviously, because there's not enough nutrients in the soil, they get it elsewhere, which is where the pitchers come in. They're basically layered. The lips of them are layered with sweet nectar. They're like big jugs, and and insects land on them, slip in, and they digest the nitrogen and the other nutrients like phosphorus and stuff, and they turn that into protein because nitrogen is very important in protein synthesis. And then you have the other type of pitcher plant, Saracensia, which is completely unrelated. They look more like trumpets, I'd say. If you're from North America, I think especially Canada, and you've been to like any sort of bogs and stuff, you might have seen them. They obviously evolved for low nitrogen environments as well, but they're not related in any way, and they both have the exact same niche, pretty much, which I think is pretty interesting. I do apologize. I'm not just talking about dinosaurs this time, but it's a bit weird recording over. Anyway, there's my castle. I think it went okay. I'll probably give it a little splash up once I've got more money in the bank game. Because like realistically, it's just a simulating a park sim game, so I need to manage my finance decently. I'm sure this game doesn't go too hard on finances, so I think it'll be all right in the long run. But just for now, so yeah, I've got the source. They seem decently happy. I think they're so cute, the baby ones. I wish there were more patterns because I know that's probably coming in a future update. There's only one skin for plateosaurus. They all look very similar. I don't know if there's individual differences like they have in Planet Zoo. But I hope that is something they add. Because I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more to set apart each dinosaur. I was very happy that they went inside the shelter though. Like, oh, look at them. It's amazing. They've also made it so the babies in the latest update follow their parents, which is why I think they're all following, which is just amazing. It's great. One thing I did notice though, when I was doing this, like watching back over the recording, the I said in the first episode that I'd only do slow growing dinosaurs because I feel like if you speed up their growth to unnatural levels, it's sort of the ethics are a bit messed up, that sort of thing. So I realized these guys aren't, so I won't let these guys reproduce. I'll turn off the nests, and then once they die, I'll replace them with slow growing ones because see, there's a bit of contention, that sort of stuff. But Oh, I was very happy them actually interacting with the embedding and such. That I know like the welfare sign shows them in yellow, but it's because this is a feature I don't like about the game. It's probably one of my only criticisms. The welfare of creatures takes a hit when they're hungry or thirsty, even if they have a source of water, and it starts ticking down straight away. So even though they have access to water and food, if the creature chooses not to drink, which it tends to not do until it's very thirsty, it will give your welfare a hit, which is really annoying, especially seeing as there's a feature in this game that requires your welfare to be of 90% to pay less taxes. It's a bit strange, but it's problematic. Apart from that, I think the game is amazing, really. It's way better than Jurassic World Evolution. I haven't seen much gameplay of Jurassic World Evolution 3 though, so I'll probably check that out back. But I think for what's it called, the amount of updates that we get and the fact they're free, it's a good game. It's paleobotany also. It's amazing. As you can see, some of the plants on the menu have a little ginkgo sign, which is an old type of tree. But that just shows you like they're paleo accurate, and they give you a little buff for the exhibit. I think it might be percentage based, so you just get like it's a small buff, but it adds up to the rating of the exhibit, which I think's. Here I am trying to figure out my finances and seeing why I've got zero money. So I think it's just recurring costs like importing food. Because that's another thing I was going to do with this. So is I was going to try and make it so import as little food as possible, which is hard to do at the start because you require dung to make your own food in this game. Like all food requires dung to be turned into compost, which is obviously quite hard because I only have this Attachosaurus and the Plateosaurus right now. So as the park fills out, it'll get better. So, speaking of filling the park out and stuff, I think from now on it'll be a weekly upload sort of thing, and it will be more like the first episode, less the second, like this one, because as much as I like just rambling on and on and on, I don't think it's as entertaining. And I don't know, I feel like it's less about the dinosaurs and more more about me just waffling. Also, I have no idea what my train of thought is during these segments. Like I'm just watching back because of all the weird stuff of the losing part of the video stuff. So next time I'll be much more careful with the recording because the first one got deleted because it didn't actually get deleted at all. It was ending up recording my other monitor. So that messed it up proper the first time because it was just nothing pretty much. It was just me speaking at the mic and nothing happening, which wasn't amazing. So I ended up doing a re-recording and all that. But I'm going to be more consistent from now on because I'm settled back in at uni now, which is another reason I've been uploading. So I'll go for once a week. I'll if anyone wants me to do a certain dinosaur, I'll probably go for that one. If not, I will just pick something I find interesting. There's a couple exhibits I do have planned out just because I want to do mixed enclosures because I think they're really interesting, especially now dinosaurs have interspecies interactions. I won't be mixing carnivores with herbivores, I don't think, unless if it's maybe something really small, like maybe a coelophysis with something. But I don't want there to be any room for like interspecies combat. There is no combat in the game yet, but just, as you know, going based on ethics, I feel like when they do that'll be interesting, and I don't want to cause any of that. But I'm probably going to work on more of a park template because this episode was more just to get something done because I've tried to make the best of all my recordings going going to shit. I'm gonna think about the next one a lot more because I've been getting used to the building system in the game and stuff. Obviously, I had two different ideas. There's a bit of shrubland to a dragon sort of castle. It's really really changed up, but going for it, I guess. I think I'm probably gonna go for a carnival next time because I've got the two herbivores now as the Tachosaurus and with Plateosaurus. Oh, the baby. Yeah. Depending on when the next episode is, the new update might be out, which is adding like exhibit creatures. I don't know if it will be, but it looks really good. So we'll have to see with that one. I'm also probably gonna do a bit of off-camera stuff, depending. It's just like cleaning up the paths and stuff. I doubt you guys want to see that as much as the dinosaurs. Here I'm trying to make like a. I was gonna make a plaza, but I decided against it, mostly because the fence is there. Not only does that mess stuff up, I couldn't. What's it called? I feel like I want to put something else in between there first of all, and what's it called? I realized I didn't actually have that much to put in between because the guests didn't want food; they wanted only shopping, and obviously that's a bit weird. With games like this, I feel like they don't mimic real life real life people that much. Because when I go to a zoo, I don't instantly think, "Oh, I wish there were some shops around," sort of thing. Because you always have the what's it called? Not the theme park. What am I trying to say? You always have the gift shop right at the front, the end of the zoo. Depend. I feel like most zoos have front and end in the same spot. So I don't know how I'll reflect that. I'll probably just like splash some gift shops in between areas. I think that will probably be the best way to do it. I mean, I'm quite happy with this gift shop I made. What I ended up going for is obviously we're trying to make the most ethical zoo possible. You keep it ethical round. I did start with a ceiling like this, which I like the idea of, but I decided I was going to put like a little garden on top. Obviously, I don't know how the other gardeners are accessing the top of this garden, so let's not think about it. Imagine it's a wild plant garden and it's for the bees. It's solely for wild insects because insect populations are declining. That is actually a really big issue in today's uh, world. Insect populations, I think, have fallen like 50%, which is crazy when you think about it. Because obviously you got not everyone loves insects as much as I do, and I understand that. They can be annoying. But you got to remember everything relies on insects at the bottom of the food chain. So when insect populations fall, at first it's okay, but you got to remember not only are they the pollinators of plants, it's not just bees we're losing. We're losing like food sources for birds, for small mammals. It really has a knock-on effect. Also, decomposers and stuff of that sort are also. It's a bad time to be an insect for many reasons: pesticides, global warming, all that sort of stuff. Best thing you can do for insects is stop using pesticides in your garden and let your I don't know what you call it. I know Americans call it a lawn. We call it a front garden in England. But let your grass grow maybe a bit longer. So I know some people they don't like the idea of having a wild garden. And I think that's reasonable. Some people like something a bit easier to manage, sort of stuff. But when it's the summer months, you've got dandelions growing on your grass. Let it grow for another month or two. Let them flower. 'Cause it does wonders for the not only the bees but all the other insects as well. I've just realized now that I ended up rambling on about biodiversity and bees for another 5 minutes, and I didn't even realize that the clip had ended. So that will be me done. Thank you for watching / listening. I'll see you next time with hopefully a more normal